Role of automation, as I said, automation is not to replace human, right? It is not to replace. That's not the whole concept. It is to complement the way that you are doing your task, right? To make few tasks easier for you, right? It improving the productivity, then reducing the cost, as well as to reduce wherever human intervention is more, right? To build in more efficiency by cutting down on the time that you'll have to process. For example, if you have to automate the data entry, right, the automation would happen in seconds, but you'll have to perform the QC on that. So that will only take you 10 minutes, right? Sometimes the data entry of few fields that you will have to do will only take. So right now, even the traditional safety database has a lot of automation built in, right? For example, even if you take any database, right, Argus or whatever database you are using, they have auto generation of narratives. So that itself would to consume at least 10 minutes of your time, or 6 7 8 minutes, or 10 minutes, at least yeah, 10 minutes of your time. So that is now started out with automation, right, where auto narrative generation is done. Right. So then you will only have to just look into the data for 2 minutes, and then you will have to make amendments or changes, right? So similarly, for others as well, auto labeling is there. You have auto Medra coding as well. So all these are making, building in efficiency, reducing your time, reducing the errors, right? And then consistency is also important here, right? Because as I told you, you might, I mean, looking into doing the same thing monotonously for a very long time, you might also have distractions. You might feel fatigue, work fatigue, right? You will, maybe you will, might not enter the data correctly later on, right? So, but I think that is also sorted out with automation. Some of the benefits, these are all the benefits, right? But at the same time, at the core level in pharmacovigilance, it is more on quality, right? Accuracy of the data that is entered. How fast can you enter, right? Because if for me to identify signals earlier, I need to process my cases earlier as well, right? To be more compliant to the regulation, I need to process my case faster and earlier. Correct? So what are different types of automation technologies that are used, right? Previously, I think even a simple thing, as I said, even your calculator is an automation tool, right? It's a great automation invention, right? So if you see the core, as I said, even Excel sheet is an automation tool. Your RPS, robotic process automation. So these are robotic process automations are very much algorithm based, right? They work on the data that you have given to the data. For example, what are RPS? So for example, you say that if this particular, you give the commands, right? It is very algorithmic based. You give a command saying that if this particular word is present in the label, that is when it becomes listed, right? It can't think beyond that. For example, I have something called as a pyrexia as my event. It will, because you have told, you've given a comment saying that look into this particular word in the document. So it will only look into pyrexia. It will not think further because it is not intelligent enough, right? It will not think about fever because pyrexia is also fever, right? So it will not detect fever in the document. It will only check, the letters into each words and compare that if that is present there or not. Even if the spelling is incorrect, right? If pyrexia spelling is something else wrongly, incorrectly entered in there, it will not detect, right? Because as I said, it is algorithmic based, so it will not detect, have that intelligence to look in for. Next came the traditional artificial intelligence AI tools, right, where NLP, ML based. So you're training the machine. So this is more advanced in nature, right? You're training the machines to say, think, let them think that, okay, today pyrexia is given. You need to also think fever, about fever. You can also have, spelling mistakes within pyrexia. In maybe in few countries in US it is written in a different spelling. In UK it's a different spelling. So you'll also have to consider that. So it is very intelligent enough based on the machine learning. So there is a lot of, even in traditional AI, right? We'll speak much more about this, but even in traditional AI, what will happen is There are there are a lot of data scientists that are there. There are a lot of ML technicians that are there who would look into the data. They code the data, right? They look at you require a lot of data for training. So it is, as a think of AI as a child, right? So while the child is born, I am the child doesn't know anything. So the way you train the child, right? You train the child on playing chess from the beginning. So he becomes a master on that, right? He doesn't know anything else. Correct. So it doesn't think of anything else as well, right? So the way train a child, even if you say, okay, this is not the way that you castle, right? This is the way that you castle. So every time you teach the child something, it learns it, right? You tell the child the mistakes, it learns from the mistakes. So similarly, even in traditional AIs, for example, you have found that the system had not picked up something as a feedback mechanism. You also have, when you change, when you change something else and then give the explanation to the system, it again relearns it. So that is called deep machine learning, right? Reiterative machine learning. So within this also there are multiple things, right? You have data annotators. Data annotations are again done by people like you. So for example, if I have source document, I'll have to annotate each and everything within the source document for my system to learn. Say, Rupa is a patient name there. Or Rupa, in what context Rupa is? So Rupa is the physician name. Rupa is a patient name. So I'll have to consider that particular tab so that the system learns if Rupa is coming from this particular field, which means it is patient. If it is coming from this particular field, it is reporter, not patient, right? If my medication or medical history, right? If the patient it'll also consider the medical history. Something that happened before taking the medication, that will become my medical history. Something happened later on after the medication has been provided, that becomes side effects. So all this would be part of machine learning and data annotations, right? But now with the latest Gen AI LLMs that we'll all speak much in detail as well. So there is, these are all sorted. You don't have to be data scientist. You don't have to be technological person to even do that. So now you are focusing more on prompt engineering, right? How do you give prompts? We will see different prompts. We'll also do some examples as well, right, on freely available open sources as well, right?